What's your opinion on people defending the C slur use by him? That you can't criticize how black people talk to each other. Oh no, I think okay. So yeah, it's like a how do you? I don't know how these people would ever answer the question. Like, how do you figure out like how do I know if I should listen to like Martin Luther King or Candace Owens on black issues? How does in these people's worlds, how in the world do you even figure that out? Like how do you figure out you should listen to one or if not the other? If you're like, oh, you should listen to black people when they talk, and you just need to be educated, okay? And once you're educated, you need to like listen. You need to like genuflect at the altar of like melanin, and if you don't, then you're just racist. If that's the case, then how in the world do you? I mean, you don't put any like of your own thought into it. How in the world do you figure out the difference between Martin Luther King and Candace Owens, right? Like, how in the world does that work out? I feel like it doesn't. So it's just completely ridiculous. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think like I wouldn't support using the C slur against honestly anybody. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good word. I don't think like normalizing using slurs like that against other like black people, honestly, especially when you're spitting vitriol. I don't think that's very good at all. Hello, hi Argo. Hope you're doing well. She hurt her ankle the other day.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is Argo your editor?
What's going on? My name is Joe Lewis and I'm practice talking on the internet. So this is gonna be a little bit of a different video than I normally do because we're going to particularly talk about that clipping question. And the only thing that matters when we're talking about that clipping question is this portion.
How do I know if I should listen to like Martin Luther King or Candace Owens on black issues?
If your time is short, the answer is you listen to both of them. And the answer is both of them, and it will always be both of them. If your time is a little bit shorter or longer, I should say, I guess, I would say that you listen to both of them and engage with their chronotope and contextualize how it relates to their positions. And then if the answer is something that you want that's a little bit longer than that, and you got a little bit of time, then everything after this portion, right? What's going on? This is Joe Lewis from the Editing Bay. This video is not about the C word. This video is not about Soul Bunny. This video is not about Keffels. This video isn't really even about Shark. This is just in particular the question that he posed from the conversation the other day. If you think this is going to be me going after any of the individuals that I mentioned before in this little editing portion, you can just respectfully go fuck yourselves, because go somewhere else for drama. Kidology is fighting with Chud Logic. Watch that instead. It is way more funnier. Anyway, back to the video. So we're going to engage with that. This is not scripted. I'm sorry in advance. So if I say something or I misspeak something, I'll try to catch it in the description. All I did was take a couple of flashcard notes that I'm going to be scrolling with on Word, but the rest is just me talking about this thing. I talk about this thing a lot. All right. So there's three aspects of experience and exposure. You can hear something, you can see something, and you can experience something. There are fancy philosophical words to that. I don't give a shit about that. It doesn't matter for the sake of this video. But if you want to like sort of define these things, hearing something is a transmission of information and ideas through various modes of speech. Seeing something is transmission of information and ideas through the various modes of examination, and experiencing something is the transmission of information and ideas through various modes of living. These three things all inform each other. They're not mutually exclusive. And these things are influenced by our invisible and visible identities. What are those? Invisible identities are assumed identities that someone might come to the conclusion of by observation, and invisible identities are identities that are unknown through observation. And then there's like ways that we can make an invisible identity to be visible with different artifacts, yada yada yada, philosophical bullshit that I don't care about right now. I'm trying to make this short. These identities shape how institutions interact with us, and also influences how we interact with those institutions. And then those interactions shape how we view the world. And those interactions also create different positions. And there's a few positions that you got to worry about, all right? Economic positions, which are built from income, wealth, property, material possessions, and holdings. You have cultural positions, which are built from the familiarity with dominant culture, like the codes and norms of that, and then the ability to navigate within and exploit that. Political positions are built on the relationship of people of similar visible and invisible identities, and how they currently and historically relate to government and politics. And to be clear again, because there's another definition, politics are merely the group activity, the group competition over scarce resources and the activities that make up that competition. Then you have social positions, which are built upon the quality of various social networks, which then promote interest and or the influence in other positions. All these positions work in collaboration with each other, and they're also not mutually exclusive. Our positions are not clearly known just through experiencing them. We have to navigate in this world and expose ourselves to different people and different modes of knowledge bases, i.e. seeing and hearing, so that we can understand the position as it relates to our own. And then we do this through talking to people, being in community with people, reading books, doing research, going to seminars, all that shit. And that just all that means, by the way, is just contextualizing our existence through seeing, hearing, and experiencing. And then with that contextualization, relating it to ourselves and our positions within that, and the positions and relationship that our positions have with other people. All we're trying to do is contextualize our existence. And we continue doing this research and yada, 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 so we can help contextualize our existence. But what the fuck does that have to do with Candace Owens and MLK? I mentioned it in a video I think I posted yesterday or the day before. Limitations exist by being a member of an identifiable group. And what that means is, as a member of one identifiable group, you cannot fully understand the existence of another member of a separate group. So me as a Black person, I can't know the full contextualization of an existence for a white person. I can't, as a man, know the full contextual existence as a woman. However, just because that's a limitation doesn't mean there aren't things that we can do about that. What we need to do is make sure that we're in community with other members of different identifiable groups to help contextualize our own existence and the existence as it relates to theirs. And then there's different modes of experience that exist within that. There's different modes of experience for white people. There's different modes of experience for Black people. There's different modes of experience for Latin folks. Like, all these things create what we know about the world and our position that exists within that. When it comes to the idea of Candace Owens and MLK, you have to first understand it's just a chronotope. And to expand that, all that means is that their language and expression is of a particular time and place. So chronotope is a when and a where. And they also have different positions that exist within that, different positions that exist within that when and where. And our job as a listener, especially if you're a member of the outgroup, is to contextualize those two things and the relationship between those things to the best of our ability, which is going to require books, interviews, seminars, readings, roundtables, all this different information that's out there in the world to help contextualize their existence and then their chronotope, their language as they express their ideas into the world. And that's going to require active engagement in the content of what they're saying. So when you're listening to different, in this case, Black people, you have to engage in the content of what they are saying. You have to divorce the individual for a brief second and engage in the content. And then when you engage in the content, you can then bring the person back in and contextualize their existence. I really hope that made sense. You're not looking to find out which one of these two people are correct. You're not trying to find out if Candace Owens is the better Negro than MLK. And if you're looking to do that and create some hierarchical categorization of Black political thinkers, then you're just doing yourself a disservice and you're wasting a lot of time and energy. And you're also, in my opinion, a fucking problem. But that's a totally different thing that I'm working on a video for another day. But with that being said, all you're looking to do is, by listening to these people, your first step is to take the individual out, engage in the content of what they're saying, bring the individual back in, and then contextualize their existence. And through contextualizing their existence, a lot of the things that people will say are not going to sound so far-fetched and out of this world. Because again, like, these are people that exist in a particular time and place and have social positions, just positions, sorry, that exist within that time and place. And you're just trying to contextualize those things. And contextualizing those things means active engagement in the content before, during, and after you hear them speak. And that's how you can figure out, okay, you know, I like these certain aspects of MLK, but some of the stuff he says is just bullshit. I can listen to Candace Owens, like, you know, some of the observations that she comes to are correct, but there's also stuff that's bullshit. And you're not trying to categorize bullshit in a hierarchical manner. What you're trying to do is understand what the bullshit is, but you can contextualize the bullshit as to how they got to those conclusions. Other Negroes that people do this for are like Clarence Thomas, Thomas Sowell, fucking Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, Larry Elder, excuse me. And I can't think of any other black conservatives that people love to use for their arguments, but as they compare them to civil rights leaders. But like, at the end of the day, these are all different black experiences, and these are black experiences, and their language is a chronotope. I'm sorry, they just have a chronotope, excuse me, and they have different positions that exist within that chronotope. And then, like, our job as listeners is to try to contextualize their existence. And through contextualization of their existence, you might find that some things are true, but some things aren't quite true. Some things might be true but misleading. Some things might be true but also false at the same time. Like, that's the name of the game. The name of the game is what we should be doing is contextualizing people's existence and contextualizing the words and the content of what they're saying. And that's the way, for going back to the tonic question.
How do I know if I should listen to like Martin Luther King or Candace Owens on black issues?
You should listen to both of them. And there isn't a dichotomy of like one being better than the other. You listen to both. No different than any other people in the world. You listen to as many ideas on this as possible, and then you contextualize their existence to come to different conclusions. I really hope this video wasn't 20 minutes. Sorry in advance. Well, but also, hi, have a good day. Have a good one.